Hey everyone, it's Stephanie again, and you are tuned into the review of Married at First Sight, Season 7, Episode 14. So, let's just jump into it. I don't know why I don't know who decided to have these dreadfully long episodes, but I was already kind of struggling this season, as a lot of you were, or a lot of you are, with the length that it is, kind of based on, who we're watching. And so I thought last week was like a fluke for the longer episode, but this week it's an hour and a half too. So they are just giving us tons of content, good or bad. So this week was like hard to watch because it was just very drawn out. I'll kick it off with Mia and Tristan just because I'm not even going to spend that much time on them this time. Clearly, we know it doesn't work out. I tried to pick out last episode some things that, we might be doing in our relationships and kind of connect the dots. But, they were just kind of sad to watch this time around. And it was just, we know the inevitable. And so all of the signs are pointing to that. And, I don't think even if they would have stayed together for decision day, that it would have worked out long term, because I don't think they ever started out with a really strong foundation. Obviously, we know that, and just weren't able to get over some things. And then beyond that, we're seeing them as individuals. So if we look at them for who they are, there's a lot of things that they're struggling with individually that would not promote a healthy relationship. And that's what it's really about. When we discuss relationships, it's beyond, who I am to my partner or who I am when I get into that relationship. It is about who I am presently and what I'm working to be presently, so that when I do join in with somebody else, it's, more of a completion and an addition to, not necessarily I will change for this. Yeah, certain things change, you make compromises, etc. But their stuff is kind of all over the place individually. So, that's me and Tristan. I'm not going to go into all of it because, we see what happens and we know what happens. But if you guys want to talk about it, feel free. I'll definitely comment back and we can go back and forth about that. So that is me and Tristan. I think that's the shortest I've ever been on them. So Dave and Amber. Okay, so this episode is about, meeting with the families and talking about decision day and focusing on the future. They do a mini moon, because the first time they went away together was a day after they met each other. So now, okay, they've had some time together, they have had some experiences, so they do a getaway, and they also get together, the guys get together and the girls get together. So Dave gets together with Bobby. Tristan was sick, so he couldn't make it. They get together. They're talking about their relationships. Dave is talking about how he is not sure that he wants to be with Amber. He's pretty much square on the fence is what he says. And he says that he feels that, in some ways she's great and they have a lot in common, but there are some bigger issues like how she responds to life when things are negative. And so for that reason, I feel like that was the main reason that he was on the fence about it. Something about Dave just doesn't line up for me. The last few episodes, he's made it seem like he's kind of all in and he wants the longevity, and they're talking about these things. And he's even said, I want it to work out. And I believe he wants something to work out, but I don't know that he's really 100% giving Amber the chance that she deserves. And Amber has her issues, but so does Dave. And, he still just comes off as this is what's wrong with you. And be that as it may, it might be something wrong with her in terms of a certain, character defect, but there is not this idea of how to make this work and what's wrong with us, okay? Because now we're a unit, so what's wrong with us? It's more like this is what's wrong with him. And he met up, I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but he met up with one of his really close friends who, gave him a little bit of challenging questions, and I really enjoyed seeing that. I think your circle of friends is really, really important when you're in a relationship, when you're married, because if you allow it, they can make or break, but they can also give you really sound advice. And if they love you, then they love the unit and they love the goal of remaining married. So they're going to challenge you, a good friend, and saying, hey, are you looking at it this way? How are you showing up? If your partner is responding this way, what indications are you giving off? And so his friend actually, said, like, women are very intuitive, and what is it about you that causes her not to believe you? And we've seen all of Amber's insecurities, but I think it was great to see someone that he loves and trusts push him back on his heels, because there's always room to look at self. So it's, even if something is wrong, or someone is doing something wrong, there's always something that you, unless it's like blatantly obvious, there's always a way that you're showing up that can be altered for the better. So I really enjoyed seeing that. But take it back to when Bobby and Dave were hanging out. Dave was challenging Bobby about, maybe there's some things that you guys aren't looking at, and maybe the relationship isn't as perfect as it is. And we see Bobby kind of push him back and say, no, it is. I think that Bobby and Danielle's relationship is what it is. And I think that for them right now, it's perfect. We all know that doesn't exist, but the space that they're in is their experience. As I was watching this last night, I just had like an aha moment. Hi, Oprah. I had an aha moment about it, because we're kind of seeing, a different perspective. And our perspective is that we know that it's not always calm waters. So we're waiting for that, and we're kind of projecting our experiences, of not having calm waters onto them, and they're just not going to show up in that way until it happens for them. So when I saw Bobby, and even when I saw Danielle at the girls' night, and they're like, oh, we're fine, like, obviously, y'all are not fine, like perfect. But you guys are fine. You haven't hit that place where you guys are at opposite sides of, an issue, or somebody has an emotional breakdown, or somebody has a very stressful, none of that has happened. And in the few instances that you can see it happening, neither one has communicated it in a way that would prompt the other to recognize that it might be problematic. So, they are where they are. This is their space where they're perfect, and so this is what it is. So the guys had a good night out. The girls got together at Amber's house, and they were kind of talking about things. Mia was talking about the situation with Tristan and being kicked out and coming back, etc. And Amber was talking about their struggles and how she really is hopeful. Like, Amber's really trying. I think she has become my favorite despite all of the stuff. She's quirky, she's funny, and she's really trying. We see her get caught up in some of her insecurities and whatnot, but that won't change over 6 weeks. And I think we judge that hard, because if you had to point to yourself, we have things that we've been working on for years, and that hasn't changed. Or it may have not taken years, but it definitely probably took you 6 weeks. So I'm looking at her like she's trying, she's hopeful. She's probably overthinking it, which is causing her to get in her own way. But we see them talk about, she thought marriage would be hard, and she jokes about it. And Mia says she thought it would be easier, and obviously it isn't. They talk to Danielle. Danielle's kind of, she says, I kind of feel bad because my life is perfect, which I think was obnoxious in saying it, because there is no such thing. But I get what she meant. Like, she doesn't really have anything to complain about. It was interesting for her to say that, they communicate the same, therefore there are really no issues to get over. And I think that their non-communication is the same, which is why there is, not much to get over right now. But girl, you'll figure that out later. I also find it very interesting that Danielle seems to be very opinionated and very nosy. She asked Mia straight up, did you move, did you go back, or why did you go? She asked all these questions, which are appropriate, except she doesn't answer questions. From the jump, she was saying that she's not going to talk to the girls about her business, and she doesn't really answer questions or isn't even transparent, even in the way that she says nothing's going on. Like, it's not even authentic or genuine to me. It's not like, nothing's going on, and it's kind of, I'm surprised, but I'm excited, and I know something will possibly happen at some point, but and we'll work through that. There is nothing. It's just, we're great. And in my mind, I'd be like, okay, if you're not going to tell me anything, get out of my business. Like, to me, that just seems to be like inauthentic and kind of nosy and kind of judgy, because she's judging their relationships, and of course she can, because they're giving her that information. But I just think it's unfair how she's showing up in her friendships. But they all, throughout the episode, get to talk to, friends, family, their family members, their friends, their parents, etc. Danielle actually talks to her mom, and she says now that she's married, she's been talking to her mom a lot more. And she hints at something that, where she says she understands like the commitment, essentially the commitment of marriage. And, because when she was younger, she thought, okay, if it's not working out, why not get a divorce? And she now sees the significance and commitment for her parents, and they get along so much better and they work through so much. So it was really cool to just get a little piece of it. It got my wheels turning about maybe why she's so jaded or why she's so emotionally blocked in relationships. It's not to excuse it, but we haven't actually got any explanation. I don't think this season has really done a great job with including the family components, which they usually have in other seasons. So that was interesting to see. We see everybody kind of check in with their parents. We see Tristan check in with his mom, and that was what it was, because at that point Mia had already left. We see Bobby check in with his parents and his sister. I love their little unit. They seem like such a cute little family, very close. I love Bobby's relationship with his mom. And the one thing I did notice with Bobby and talking to his mom is he asked her, can you see it? Can you see that she cares for me? And there's two things I thought about with that. If you're really close to your parents, or they have had like significant impact on you, you really, no matter how old you get, you always look to them for that type of leadership or that type of comfort. And so it made me think of me and my mom. Like if I ask my mom something, I'm really wanting to know, because I trust her intuition. I trust that she sometimes can see stuff that I can't see. And she's been right. She has been right. So, oops. That's what happens. I'm not even going to stop the video. The phone fell. Anyways, I trust that, my mom can see stuff that I can't see. And she's usually right. Like ever since I was a kid, she says something, I can wait on it. No matter how long I have to wait, but I can wait on it. So I love seeing Bobby kind of look to his mom for that, and her reassure him. However, he also is not just like doing that to, see if what he's experienced is, being translated to other people. He's also doing that because he doesn't know. So on the flip side, I felt bad for him, because he's like looking to his mom to validate, Danielle's feelings for him, because she hasn't done it for him. And it's sad, because he should know, and his family should be an extension of seeing that, like, I've experienced this, and what do you guys think? It's more like, Mom, what do you see? Because I'm not sure. I think she cares about me. I hope she cares about me. I love her, but I'm not sure. So, that's like what trips me up with, we're perfect. No, you're not. You're not even really communicating. Your man doesn't even know how you really feel, but I digress. So we watched them kind of get together with family and, check in with family, because decision day is right around the corner. And then Dr. Pepper checks in and, tells them to go on this mini moon. We watch that debacle with Mia and Tristan, didn't end up well. They got really upset. I will touch on that just really quickly. The conversation in the car where Tristan feels like Mia paints these stories, and she kind of expresses things in a way that isn't always true, which is probably true. I mean, we've seen it happen. I'm still going to stick to the fact that him rolling her stuff out was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, now there was a question, because my husband was like, did he pack her stuff up, or did she pack it? And I was like, I don't really even care who packed it. Like, you have to let me leave so that could be my choice. And what we saw on the video, regardless of who packed it or what the questions behind it was, is that he rolled her stuff out, and he threw the candle out, and he took pictures down and all these things. So, he still kicked her out. So, the perspective is still a little skewed, and sometimes we can have skewed perspectives based on what we're experiencing, but we don't always have video. So there's that. They didn't really end up, doing their mini moon. But Danielle and Bobby, they went to Broken Bow, this beautiful cabin in Oklahoma. We don't really see them do anything yet, because we just see them do a long drive, and they get there late towards the end of the episode, so we'll probably see more next week. And Amber and Dave, they go to, I forget where they go. I forget. I think it's Austin, but I'm not really sure. But they go, it's towards the end of the episode as well. They have a good time, and they talk about, like, we've gone through ups and downs, and we have been working on our marriage, and, let's use this mini moon to really focus on why we are together. Let's not, dissect and overanalyze because we have time to do that. We've been doing that. We'll do it again. Let's not overanalyze why we're together or why why we're not working. Let's really focus on the positive. And I really enjoyed that they both did that. That's a mature thing to do, because in marriage you'll have to do that. Like you will have issues. They won't always be immediately resolved, but your time together is your time together. So are we going to spend our time together focused on what we're feeling in a negative way, or are we going to, address it as best as we can, maybe put a pause on it and focus on each other, because we're here, we're present right now, and certain things need to happen, and we can still enjoy each other without completely giving power to some of the stuff that is not going the way that we want. So I enjoyed both of them just being like, let's just focus on the good stuff, because that is what you need to do in life, not only in relationships but in life. So for Dave, I'm glad that he was able to experience her in that way, and for her to communicate the same thing he did, like just staying in the moment, staying in the positive, and enjoying each other. So that is this episode. I mean, I know this isn't even like the longest review, but I don't think that much really happened in this episode. They really stretched it out. We saw the quirky interactions with Dave and Amber when she was giving her whole face, regimen, and that was cute, because that's a couples moment. Like, this is what happens behind the scenes. It's not like just what you see on Facebook or Instagram. Like, women have that whole regimen, their men look at them like, okay, that's too much, so it was cute to see them that way. And we just got a lot of filler stuff for me. Like, the episode was like a bouquet of hydrangeas for the most part, with like a rose here and there. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you thought, and let me know what you think for decision day. I'm thinking that obviously Danielle and Bobby will stay together, and I'm pretty sure I think that Amber and Dave stay together, or I think they will. I don't watch the previews though, remember guys, so if y'all know something I don't, then I'm completely oblivious to it. You guys actually give me information on these reviews, but that's what I'm thinking about next time. So don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like, and I will see you guys next week. Everyone have a great week.